Let's go, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the LA Poker Roundup. It is March 4th, 2025, and this is episode number 75. We have got a big one for you tonight, man. It just suddenly exploded right at the end of the day with news. We had to clear the schedule and we had to come up with all sorts of new stuff for you, but it's gonna be worth it. As always, I am Ty Dauberton here with my co-host Derek Kwan.
What's up, everyone?
And we are going to start, as always, with the results from around LA.
And then we got a big announcement that just kind of came in today. We knew a little bit about it last night, got a little bit hit last night, but big announcement came in today at the Commerce. We're going to talk about that.
Yep, and then after that, we got ourselves a special last-minute pop-in mystery guest. Not really a mystery, I think we were advertising. So we've got Mr. Kevin Taylor in the house, coverage guy extraordinaire, just got his first Remington. We're going to chat with him.
And we got controversy at the WSOP circuit event in Baltimore, which Maurice Hawkins won, and this guy just seems to be a lightning rod for controversy.
I know, he can't just quietly win one. Of course not. Something controversial has to happen. After that, we've got a couple other stories. Want to hit up some gossip from around the country is where I pulled it from, and some news. Some stuff happening involving LA locals and other various stuff.
And we'll wrap it up with the weekly roundup as always.
All right. So let's just jump right in. Let's start with results from around LA. Let's start at the the last event at the LAPC. Let's start with that. Photos and coverage courtesy of our number one field reporter, Frank. So over here at over at Commerce, event 51, the closer, ended in a four-way chop with Thu Win taking home $47,000 and his first Remington. So he's also off that list. There's a lot of regs, a lot of super regs like you, Derek, who've gotten their first Remington this series.
I was really surprised when I saw that he didn't have one yet. I was like, what?
Yeah, this guy's playing everything. So Thu get first place. Second place in the chop, Christopher Rush taking home $35,000. Third place, Jamie Guerrero taking home $28,000. Fourth place, Caro Davetian. Does he go by Kevin or is that a different guy? Another reg you'd recognize. 5, Sam Kaplan. 6th, Matthew Harvey. 7th, Samuel Moralejo. 8th, Joe Jacko. And 9, Nisar Qureshi. So congratulations to that final table. And, I think we may have mentioned this way back when, but I just want to point out that Mr. Elvis Tumis made sure to congratulate Thu on this win. He had previously posted about some unsavory stuff about some debts, but he wanted to make sure everyone knew that he's working his way through it. He is trying to make good on those, and that he congratulated him on this win. So just put that out there.
Yeah, seems like a good dude. So I'm glad that that's all resolved.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that is going in the right direction. And unlike a lot of these stories you hear, where there's just no acknowledgement, no goodwill at all. Yeah. So before we leave the LAPC, we just wanted to shout out Mr. Preston Patz. He as Frank points out here, we didn't track a player of the series for just the LAPC, but if we had, there's a probable, very overwhelming chance that Preston would have won it. Preston got three Remingtons this series. Not one, not two, 3.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so he got 2 of them in Hold'em, and he got 1 in Limit Omaha. Oh, I'm sorry. He got 1 in Hold'em, 1 in Limit Omaha 8, and PLO 8. So he got them across the spectrum of stuff, mixed games, Hold'em games, and he also got, it looks like, 2 third-place finishes. So way to go. What a series, Preston. Taking home the hardware. Very impressive.
Where is he on our POY? He's going to be up there pretty high, right?
We will get to that after we go through the rest of the results. Let's take a look. Right. Some of these trophy events did not count, though, so he may not be as high as you might expect with that. All right, so jumping over to the bike, let's start looking. The Winning on the Green series has begun, and as you can tell from these beautiful purple chips in the front, they're using the new chipset. They're really cool. Love these new chips. And event number 1, the $250 $50K guarantee, was a 9-way chop, apparently. So the chip leader when they chopped was Kareem Mahbub. He got almost $9,000 for that first place, and the as they're dubbed, the Phantom Zone Crystal Trophy will be coming his way. So congratulations to Kareem. The rest of this final table with the chop was second place, Fanit Polavith. Third place, Brent Ryder. Fourth place, Jefferson Grandes. Fifth place, Arthur Zernakian. Sixth place, Keith Perez. Seventh place, Albertine Hernandez. Eighth place, George Alba. Ninth place, Rami Romasanta. So congratulations to that final table.
Nice work, everyone. That was I played this one, fired only 2 bullets at it, which is kind of nice. Got pretty deep, and then just had a series of unfortunate hands, and ended up running ace king into kings and busting.
Yep.
But it was a fun event, and man, like we'll talk a little bit about this too. But the bike is, I feel like the bike is killing it right now.
Yeah, definitely. So these one days are, they're definitely fun events. You're gonna have to run a little hot at the right times because they got to get them done in one day. Event number,
those new chips, man, A+.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, looks like this was the B event for the day because event number 2 is using the old chips. That was a $250 super stack guarantee, 20K guarantee. Had 109 entries and ended in a 4-way chop with Mr. Q Lee, Kwok Lee taking home the top place.
Sure.
What's that? Yeah,
pretty sure. Pretty sure Quack's not complaining about the chips either.
No, I don't think so. This man, he's here to win the money. No stranger. He's near the top. He was near the top of our list. I think the bike must just be his preferred place because I think he got all those points at the bike for the most part originally as well. So he took home $5,000 and the trophy. Number 2. Yep. So Frank's pointing out some other wins he had. Second place was Zavin Armaganian.
Yeah.
Third place, Yancy Montes. Fourth place, Rick Sungwoo. Fifth place, Paul Edwin Barron. Sixth place, Arthur Simonian. Seventh place, Roscoe Hayden. That I don't know if this one counted for us or not. I don't think it did, or else that would push him up the rankings. Eighth place, Jimenez Delgadillo. And ninth place, Treedin. So congratulations to that final table. Let's hop over to event number 3, the biggest event of the weekend over the bike, the 100K guarantee, brought in 422 entries. I was 3 of those entries. Final prize pool was 135K, and that was with the final day of the closer flights happening over at the Commerce. So this was a big one. Let's see where the chop was. The remaining 6 players chopped this thing up. Chip leader at the time was Musa Telain. He took home the lion's share and the trophy, taking home almost 24,000. Congratulations. In second place was Sean Pac-Man Jing. I don't know anyone with that nickname. I guess I'd have to see him.
Is that a new nickname? I feel like that's a new nickname. Frank, did you just make that up?
We'll have to see. Third place, Jeffrey Heyer. Fourth place, Dimitri Hishme. Fifth place, Hagop Sorfazian. Sixth place, Matthew Deloso. Seventh place, number 1 field reporter Frank Lynn, who held the chip lead for quite a while on this thing. So congratulations, Frank. Nice job. Eighth place, Michael Kaplitz. And ninth place, Leonidas Pepito Gishian. Appreciate it, Frank. You weren't going for the chop. They chopped right after you busted. We are trying to do the honorable thing and get your wins the legit way. I appreciate that. Congratulations to all of those guys in that big one. So the number 2 event for that day was a $250 20K guarantee using the old chips again. And it actually had an overlay because the other event must have just sucked all the people out. And I know for myself, I went over to the Commerce to try and fire 2 bullets into their closer flight. So maybe that pulled away from it. But this was a 9-player final table chop, which it sort of makes sense when there's overlay, honestly. The more overlay there is, the more incentive you can kind of have to chop just because you're getting free money. I mean, top stack when the chop happened was Robert Sarabekian. Second place, Farshid Fadakar. Third place, Janren Astakhan. Fourth place, Larry Kwong. Fifth place, Paul Todson Cha. Sixth place, Michael Bender. Seventh place, Barath Kumar. Eighth place, Mark Anthony Nagal. And ninth place, Ivan Yusefian. So congratulations to that final table.
Nice work.
All right, we are getting all the results now. Look at this smiling face. I think we saw this guy last time. We got a little out of focus, but you know what? It's all right. You can. This guy's like a Cheshire cat here. Congratulations, Victor Kruglov, taking home event number 5, the Super Stack Sunday 50K. He is taking home about $13,000 on this win. It ended in a 9-way chop, though. These one days, a lot of chopping going on, man. I guess stacks get short. Everyone wants to go home. Second place in this chop, Tyler Cook. Third place, Vahid Jalali. Fourth place, Alan Carothers. Fifth place, Rich San. 6th place, Michael Tran. 7th place, Hake Papoyan. 8th place, Yacheskal Yerushalmi. And 9th place, Alfred Cho. Yeah, thanks, Alfred, for having a nice, easier name after that one. That was a tough one. All right, congrats to this final table. Way to go, Victor. True legend. Love it. No one's having more fun than Victor. All right, and then the last result from the winning on the green that we have for this week is the first mixed game of the series, the event number 7 Heroes. Very familiar face, friend of the show, friend of Derek, Mr. Adam Kipnis taking home first place in this. It looks like there was there a chop? I see an asterisk on there. Though there's some two-way chop. All right, top 2 chopped. So Adam and David Agarwal chopped for almost the same amount. Adam takes just slightly closer to $6,000 home. 3rd place, old Sean SFYU. 4th place, Philip Wexler. 5th place, Harar Danielian. 6th place, Jeremy Clemens. Congratulations to everyone who cashed this event.
Yeah, I think Adam's got some complaining run good, because every time he complains to me in text, like, I never win anything, I'm in such a bad run, it just like ship a trophy.
Just immediately wins. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that means that, hey, Brandon in the chat, we need to get you Derek's number so you can whine to him. All right, I'm
gonna start charging. I'm gonna start charging. Yeah.
You can be like the good luck guy who had the flyers at the Gardens parking lot before. We do have one. We do have one more results. What, you didn't see those flyers? We'll talk about that later. Michael, remember Mike Ong was running a gag on him, pretending to listen to him. All right. We do have one more result, and we will.
I need those flyers. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. He tells you when to play and how much to play. One more result from the LAPC before we're out of here, and we will be having him on soon. Not yet. They had the employee event. The employee event closing out the series had 262 players coming in for, I guess, $20 to nominal fee to get into this tournament that had a big prize pool added element to it. So way to thank the employees. Appreciate that. And the winner, Mr. Kevin Taylor, the coverage man extraordinaire himself. So Kevin chopped it heads up with Nat, one of the food runners. You'll recognize her if you've been playing there and ordering food. So congratulations to Nat as well. The deal saw Nat get 3,800 for second, and Mr. Taylor got 4,500. So way to
seems
go.
Like a nice girl.
Yep, and his first Remington.
Yeah, I feel like it's not fair that he just got all these bottles to put in his winner's picture. I mean,
well, aside from that, they gave away all sorts of other swag, right? Like they said, the Beats, gift cards, Apple Watches, Disney tickets, Kings tickets, and it looks like for first place, he got some Hennessy, he got some other drinks. We'll ask him when he comes on.
So that's like for real. It wasn't for show.
No,
those are like his.
Yeah, that's prizes, but we'll ask him in a minute. We'll ask him in a minute.
Good for them. Let's take care of the staff. They worked real hard.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. That's really a great gesture. And speaking of all of the results and LAPC being wrapped up, let's take a quick look at our player of the year. So our player of the year, I've updated it through LAPC. We don't have winning on the green events yet, but this is through LAPC. And we have a new leader. Is it a new leader? The prior leader was Paul. With his second place finish in the main event, Elvin has taken the lead. He is number 1. And coming up right behind him in second with his win at the mini main is Derek. Derek's in second place, and you'll see I removed his asterisk now that he finally has a straight up win. I can't really hold that over him. So with his Remington, Derek's in second place, and it's only a 150-point difference. Third place,
I'm very disappointed. I just tasted first place for like 2 days.
Yeah. Yep, you were in first place for, was it 2 days or was it only 1 day? I mean, it wasn't long.
It only been 1 day. I don't know
how long it was,
but it was, yeah.
So rounding out our top 10 here, we have Paul Wynn, Armin Pogashian, Mike Nia with his win jumps into 6th place. Very cool. Beth Hall still holding on strong in 6th place. Frank Lynn, 7th place. Eugene, 8th place. Anthony Marquez, 9th place. And Mark Fiorentino in 10th. Fortunately, I have dropped out of the top 10. I've been spending a couple weeks cheating on LA, playing up in Vegas. Haven't been grinding some of these last commerce events quite as hard as the others, but we'll be back at it with the bike. I expect to be back up there soon. Other people dancing around the top 10 or who used to be in the top 10. We have old Tony, Thuy Win, Rick, also dropping out of the top 10. Aaron, our early leader, has dropped out of the top 10 now. He's in 14th.
Yeah, but I feel like he's barely playing tournaments.
Yeah, I think he's getting allured by Bally Live at Commerce.
Yeah.
Alexander Villa down here in 14th. And look, Uncle Paul is Fausto hanging out in 20th. So nice.
Got to give props to Paul Wynn and Beth and Frank in particular. It just feels like they're just kind of clawed into the top 10 and not coming out. So that's some impressive consistency.
Yeah, no one is grinding harder than these guys. I mean, as you all know, in order to take all these pictures, Frank is there, and he is, as you know, he's not just taking pictures. He's playing in probably 3 tournaments at the same time when he does this.
Right.
Frank is in the main event. He's in something on Club GG, and he's also on something on like WPT, and he's also in his own like little home like mixed game. So I don't understand. Oh, and he's also working on the side, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this dude 20 years ago, I didn't have this amount of energy and capability to do what he's doing, so I don't know how he's doing it now.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky to have him in the community, guys. So make sure you take care of your field reporter. All right. Speaking of field reports, big news happened today, man. I cannot believe it. I heard it from random little whispers in the air. We went to the source itself, got the confirmation. I can't honestly. This wasn't even expected in the very beginning, right? I thought there was a chance. Then we found out more details about this, about the position, about everything. I didn't think it was possible. So let me just let the man speak for himself first. Mr. Cavan Casino, Mr. Cavan Q. He is excited to start a new chapter. After almost 18 years with the Gardens Casino, I will cherish the team and the players most of all. I have always upheld the integrity of the game while providing legendary customer service and leadership. I now focus on joining the Commerce Casino and Hotel as tournament manager. Looking forward to adding to the iconic legacy of the world's largest poker casino. Stay fit, fun, integrity, and teamwork. Wow, holy cow.
Unbelievable. A lot of people have been, making this joke that it's like Luka joining the Lakers, but it really is because the Commerce is, the biggest card room in LA. Where Commerce goes, LA goes, and then Cavan is probably our best tournament director out there right now. So it's
absolutely
pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, I am so excited. I honestly, after this LAPC, I'd been going to Vegas to play some events. I was just done with Commerce. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, when the World Series sends TDs down and they run, everything will come. It'll be fine. It'll be like 2 weeks of okay, but like whatever. Commerce is just blah now. And the number of people up playing at Commerce just because it's just been there and it's like they're at LAPC, the number of people when we're playing an event at one place and we're just like, oh, I'm going to go to this other place. They have a series going on. They're like, wait, they have tournaments? I'm like, so you're just here because you see the signs? You've seen the signs for the past 20 years? I mean, that's cool. That's great branding, but it's just like, it's sad, like, because it's been so brutal, right? But this genuinely has me excited. This is probably one of the 2 things that would genuinely have me excited now. Like, now I can't wait to go back to Commerce. And I was just like so happy that we were done, to be honest. I cannot wait to see what he does and what he brings back. And you know what else is exciting? He still has a really good relationship with the WPT. I don't know what the extent of it is, but he certainly has a better relationship with the WPT than the other folks there at Commerce that I can see. So could you imagine if Commerce kept their World Series circuit events and brought back WPT for 1 or 2 series? Can you imagine?
I somehow feel like that wouldn't be allowed. Something, I don't know.
What I mean,
some sort of competitive.
Why not? Thunder Valley does WPTs and circuits.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They do.
All right, let's go.
Thunder Valley does a WPT in the early part of the year, I think, and they do like 2 circuit events a year. So why not? Could you imagine, like, if the Commerce did, they could do 2, but just say if 3 of their 4 series a year were World Series and then WPT, like.
You know what?
Wow.
I kind of really hope the bike grabs WPT instead because I feel like we need that
competition.
Competition rotation. Yeah. I think the reason why we're all excited about Cavan, other than the fact that he's a fantastic tournament director, but a lot of the issues that we see at the Commerce, sometimes you want to say they feel a little bit like table stakes kind of stuff. And then Cavan's the type of person that's going to come in and basically just not allow any of that to happen. Or complaints about not having like a single point of contact
Mm-hmm.
to go to with stuff, who also is in tune with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden we have like one of the best, right? Like you see him all over Twitter all the time. Yeah, actually you should go look at that tweet and look at the thread and look at all the comments in there. Everything is positive. Everyone is so excited to have him. So yeah, this is a huge win.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he was voted best tournament director in our poll last year. The
Yeah.
comments you hear is, and if you've played there, you know some people have strong opinions on Kevin, but it's because he's very clear on the rules. He enforces the rules, and he's no nonsense, right?
Yeah.
People frequently say a lot of the ladies around town love playing at the gardens because Kevin will protect the game environment. He will not take any crap from people mistreating the dealers, mistreating the other players. He
Yeah.
does. He knows the TDA rules forwards and backwards, and he has strong opinions about all of them, right? And he is, he is a creative, and as you point out, like he will listen to people and try things, right? They ran a average event down there at the
Yeah.
gardens. He is he has a vested interest in the action clock. He's gonna, fingers crossed, we can get Commerce
Oh,
to.
can't wait.
I mean,
Can't
if
wait.
if Commerce can't find money for 30 iPads so we can use the action clock, I mean, that's going to be a big sign right there. If we don't have the action clock
Uh,
fast, it's like, really, Commerce, you couldn't afford like 25, 30 iPads to do the action
and
clock.
and
Come
you
on.
and you just need like 5 generations ago iPad because all you're doing is literally running
Right.
like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're not
you could just get used ones. This doesn't.
we're not even asking for the table things where you can actually hook up like a poker atlas at every table like
Yeah.
they do at the Win and the Venetian. No, we're just an old freaking iPad that can run a clock with a button on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin is so exciting for going there. My only concern, honestly, is how he's going to be treated. So we're going to have, we're like 90%, 80% locked in on having Kevin on the show for you next week, guys. So I have so many questions. I'm sure you guys have so many questions.
Yeah.
Let's get a thread going. Let's send him in. Make sure we all know what we want to talk about. I got to ask questions that he probably won't be able to answer. I mean, we all know, and we've been joking, that the whole reason they don't have anyone is because they refuse to pay anyone. I really hope they rectified that, And honestly, I hope we had a little bit of say in that and helped with the negotiations for
Yeah.
showing what a value is the community. But and we've always had the main concern, and this was a concern when DJ was there too, is just how hamstrung their tournament directors often are by the upper management, by the casino, like what they're allowed to do, what they can't do, what they're,
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff.
You bring somebody like Kevin on, you got to give him the autonomy to do what he needs to do. So I'm sure that the Commerce and Kevin, I don't think Kevin would go there if he wasn't given that freedom of movement. So
Yep. So we are hoping to have him on next week. We probably will. And get your questions ready. We are super
yeah,
excited, and and then the other thing though is now the Gardens has a series coming up at the end of April. What is going to happen with that? Is it just going to try and go on autopilot? Is it, I hope it's still good. I hope people still come out for it. But, Kevin's going to bring, just like a Luca coming, he's going to bring a lot of fans. He's going to bring a lot of the players with him,
yeah.
So,
Wow, if he brings like the Gardens crowds to Commerce, geez. I mean, like the a couple of the events. To be fair, like the 1K and then
the 1K was huge.
yeah, the 1K was absolutely huge,
That,
right?
that
But
It's really it.
yeah, but this is true. This is true. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think they need help. I think they need a little bit of help.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on, guys. The final Remington event, we pointed out, why do these things have no guarantees? And without a guarantee, the final Remington event, that $400 had 45 entries.
It's
And
unbelievable.
Preston was
I-
like probably 6 or 7 of those entries. So,
Yeah.
like, come on, guys. What are you doing? You're giving
And
away
seriously, I
the
wasn't
Hold'em
even
event.
I wasn't even thinking that was a Remington event. Like I went to the bike, and obviously I wanted to play the bike more. It was going to be a bigger, prize pool. I really like their crystal trophies too, but to kind of snag another Remington for such a small field, I kind of
I know, right?
I don't regret going to the bike, but I kind of wish
Yeah.
I kind of thought about that in the morning or something.
Yeah, and this is super exciting for LA Poker, because we'd always been trying to encourage Kevin to like try and get the Gardens to take more market share, and they wouldn't. But now
Yeah.
that he's at
He's just gonna
Commerce,
get the
he
market.
has the market share.
For
Now he
sure.
just has to
Yeah.
make it good, and we are super impressed with. I mean, it's only been one weekend, and we only look at the schedule. We're super impressed with what we've been seeing out of the bike. Since
Yeah.
Jeff's taken over and really taken the reins,
Yeah.
we are loving what we're seeing so far. Knock on wood, and this could be good. This could be great for us. So
Yeah,
Absolutely excited.
I think the next time we run this poll, Jeff is going to be a lot closer to Kevin in terms of the best tournament director because he's doing a bang job over
Yeah,
at the bike.
his next job is just going to be to market himself better, get himself out there
Yeah,
more so people know who he is.
yeah.
All right. So that is the exciting announcement, the exciting news. Make sure if you haven't yet, get over there. He's announced it on Instagram and Twitter. Give him a congrats. Let him know how excited you are. Give him your support, guys. So coming up next, we're going to have that guest. So Kevin, if you're listening out there, hop on into that video call. We're going to have Mr. Kevin Taylor. As we pointed out, if you don't know who Kevin is, he is the one who's been running the bike blog, who does the coverage now for the Commerce blog. He writes the articles for the local tournament, series at the Bike and the Commerce now. He is he's a fixture. He's at all of these things. He's always there, if not playing, doing the hands, doing the coverage. And welcome to the show. How are you doing, man? Congratulations on your first Remington.
Thank you guys. How you doing? Can you hear me? Everything
We
good?
can hear you. Everything's great.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, no, I'm feeling awesome. Feeling really great, man. I'm a little tired from a long weekend of work, but capped it off really nicely last night, and just was a really pleasant surprise. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Very,
You were due, buddy, man. You're a good player for somebody who does field reporting. And
Thank you.
yeah, unlike,
it's funny
unlike
too
that
because
Jeff
I
Platt
feel like
guy.
yeah, exactly. But I feel like I could have my chips in a pile like this, like not stacked, and Kevin will just the exact chip count. It's pretty nuts how close he gets on chip counts, man.
Yeah, years of experience pays off.
Yeah. All right. So Kevin, so many questions. Let's start at the beginning. Are you an LA native? Are you from LA?
I've been in LA since 2005. I was actually born in the South. I was born in Durham, North Carolina, at Duke University, which my mom never lets me forget because she's a Maryland alum. We have Maryland alum all throughout our family, and so.
Gotcha.
But my dad was working there when I was born. Moved to Charleston, South Carolina, for about 9 years, and then went to high school in New Orleans, Louisiana. Actually went to the same high school, Isidore Newman, that Peyton and Eli Manning and Cooper Manning and all them.
Wow.
And young Arch Manning, all legacy. They all went to that high school.
Just
I came out-
to butt in real quick,
Okay.
as someone who went to college in Baltimore and did an internship in Research Triangle Park there by Raleigh. Shout out to your mom. Let's go. All right.
There you go. Yeah, we're still big Maryland fans. But yeah, I came out to LA in 2005 because I went to USC for college for broadcast journalism program, and I have not left the city since.
Awesome. Broadcast journalism. So, but now you seem to be doing more, as far as the poker world is concerned, you seem to be doing more written journalism, right? So did you make a shift, or is it just what's available?
Sure. It was kind of just how I got my start in the poker media world, and it's kind of just what I've been with since I've been there. So basically, after college, I was trying to get sports broadcasting, TV jobs, but it was 2009, the Great Recession, or whatever they call it, the second coming of the recession.
Housing crash.
Yeah, that thing. So I spent about a year sending out video resume reels to Billings, Montana, and Iowa, and all these small towns and all this stuff.
Wait, what sports do they play in Billings, Montana?
I don't even know. I actually have a friend who's worked there quite a long time, probably field hockey or something. Probably sent out about 30, 40, 50 reels over the year and didn't get any bites on anything. So kind of knew I needed to shift pretty quickly, and was doing some high school sports print coverage just in the area in Venice. And then I had been playing poker since 2000, since Moneymaker. I was a Moneymaker kid, just like a lot of us, were.
Gotcha.
Personally, I didn't really care that Chris Moneymaker won. That wasn't the appeal to me. It was just actually seeing it on TV. I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen Rounders, so I wasn't familiar with the game.
Wow.
And I fell in love immediately, and just played a bunch of online, nothing crazy, no high stakes, but kind of paid my bills throughout college at USC.
Oh, very cool.
Playing online
Nice.
poker.
So let's pause there. Did you start?
Sure.
You said you started with Moneymaker, so that was before college. So did you start playing back east or back
high
south?
school, I played free rolls because I wasn't 18 years old yet, so I had to grind the free roll circuit on Poker Stars and Full Tilt and all that stuff, and played like hours and hours and hours, and would win like 80 cents,
Yeah.
basically. And finally on Poker Stars, and when I finally was in college, I won like I got like third place in a free roll for like $75 on Poker Stars, and it was like the greatest day of my life, basically. Not actually, but and that I just played $2 and $3 from there, and just kind of won $300-$400 at a time. That's really all it was.
Nice. So in at you said USC, right? USC.
Yes.
Did you stick to playing online primarily there, or did you just were there some home games, some dorm games, some
Sure,
frat
yeah.
games?
So it was mostly online, just occasionally that I played between classes and stuff, but nothing crazy. I only played like 2, 3, 4 hours a week. Really, it wasn't even that much. But I actually would play some live games, some $20 games with someone who's probably pretty familiar to most of you guys, Jeff Platt,
Jeff,
who
who? I never heard of him.
Just won a GPI award, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
What are those? We
But
weren't invited. They couldn't have been that cool.
yeah. I've known Jeff for I guess going on 20 years now. We would play $20 home games. That's how I met him first, and we never really lost touch over the years. We kind of always stuck together and chatted. And he kind of moved to Vegas just before the pandemic, and was doing what he's doing his great stuff. He was a broadcast. He did stuff with the Spurs and stuff in the past. So he's one
Nice.
of the probably the best broadcaster that I met in college, and I knew he was a star as soon as I met him. So I'm very happy to see his success.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I've played with Jeff a couple times. I played with him on the day one up at the Venetian Poker Bowl just a couple weeks ago. Very cool dude. Fun at the table, and always fun to run into him.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So you're pivoting out of you sent out all of your reels. You're
Yeah.
hanging out in LA. You're paying your bills, playing online poker.
Yeah.
What's next? Did you
Uh,
at what level
Good.
did you keep your poker at? Did you ever bump your poker up to a really high kind of time commitment or like personal commitment, or
No,
did it kind of
I
just
would say
stay at a?
never really. Yeah, I was always, just kind of playing in the area of like $10 to $22 buy-ins really, and my highest online score was just like 3,700, but I probably had like 15 to 20 like, like 1K to 4K scores,
Gotcha.
just enough to like, pay rent sometimes and pay groceries. Nothing too crazy, more of a hobby.
Gotcha.
But then in 2011, Black Friday didn't really affect me. I mean, obviously, it did not being able to play, but I had probably like $100 online, so I
Sure,
didn't lose
sure.
any money,
Yep,
thankfully.
same here.
But that was around the time when I like I say, I knew I needed to pivot. So what I ended up doing is I went to the Contact Us page, if you remember those, on Poker News, Card Player, and Pocket Fives, those three websites. I went to their Contact Us. I just said, introduced myself, said I love poker, I have journalism background. World Series is coming up in the summer. I'd love to be able to help out. Poker News got back to me within 2 days and sent over a test that was just like some basic poker knowledge, and also if I knew some of these players. And it was one of the easiest tests I've ever taken. Not to brag, but I just knew everything already.
Nice. Nailed it.
Within a week, I was hired to be an intern for the 2011 World Series of Poker,
Nice.
and that's how I started my poker journey. Was covering that World Series, doing the live updates for the PokerNews.com team.
Oh,
Awesome.
very cool. So what was that experience
Yeah.
like? Because I've seen every time the World Series rolls around, they put the call out, "Hey, we need more writers. We need more. We need
Yeah.
we need more feet and boots on the ground, so to speak."
Yeah.
Would you recommend it to people? What kind of folks would you recommend it to?
It's certainly a certain breed that I think can do very well in it. I enjoyed my time there. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing it still if I in some capacity if I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't for the faint of heart. I think of probably that team of we had about 15, maybe 16 new interns for that team. Only probably about 4 or 5 of them returned the next year, and me and probably one other two other people are only people who still work in poker from that team. We did have some great veterans of people who still work in PokerGo.com, Donnie Peters and Rich Ryan
Oh.
and Tim Duckworth, all people I worked with. Gary Gates also in the poker media. All of those guys were higher up leaders at that time who I worked under. I got really valuable experience from them and kind of just shaped my journey with Poker News. And I was with Poker News for about 4 or 5 years consistently, and then even on and off working events with them, even still today, just occasionally. Still have a good relationship with that website. It's what I started with, so they always have a, soft spot in my heart.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, then tell us about how you started working for the bike. Was that, did they approach you?
Sure.
Did you pitch them on that? Did you, what happened?
So I had it was about 2014 or so. I was really only kind of doing the World Series over the summer, doing an occasional spot here, covered a tournament in the Philippines at some point at Cebu, which was a lot of fun. But was really looking to obviously have more consistent work. And so there really wasn't much of a media presence at the time with any of the casinos. And I had a guy, a partner who I was working with back then for a few series, and then we ended up just kind of going our separate ways and splitting up the casinos for a little bit. But that's kind of how I started off at the bicycle casino. That was the first place I worked, and went to Commerce, and then pretty consistently over the next 6-7 years or so leading up to the pandemic, I was working with 2 of the 3 major casinos basically at any time, kind of having a nice schedule of working 2 months or so at each place, having a month off to kind of recharge my batteries, all that stuff. That's kind of the schedule I really fell into for a while.
Awesome. That's really cool. So you were kind of like some of the dealers that go from place to place, but you're just the coverage guy going place to place, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. And how would you describe, or how would you compare, working for either of those 2 places? Are they very similar? Do they have different philosophies for what they want out of their coverage?
Sure. No, I think they both have an understanding of what it is that I bring and what value I have, and I've worked long enough with everybody there that they know what to expect, and I think they just see the value of what it is that I do. Which is always, nice to feel valued, right, for what you do. It's always great.
Yeah,
so,
we certainly appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of you're kind of the not inspiration, but you're like the step one to like why we want to do the next step, right? We want to get people on.
Yeah,
we want to tell a story. We want
exactly.
to. Yep.
And that's what I want to do too. I always love to tell the stories. I've been writing, freelance and with poker and sports and all that stuff my entire time here as well. So I've always loved to write things and tell stories, and whether that's just a single tournament or a player who's making a lot of deep runs, it's always nice to give people their shine. That's
All
what
right.
I like to do about it.
So, speaking of shine and deep runs, let's come back to the other night. It looks like
Sure.
set the scene, right? You're 3 bottles of Hennessy in. You got a cowboy staring at you down the no.
Yeah.
What a photo, man! That's such an awesome
So
photo.
yeah, I'll get to the details of how I got the alcohol, but it's a funny story how it even began. So this tournament was Monday at 6 p.m., right? We started the event at 5. I'll give more details on that, but I did not know this tournament was happening until Sunday at about 7 o'clock, 7 p.m.
Okay.
I had no idea. Cairo had mentioned that the employee event was going to be coming up. He said I should play in it. He said he'd talk to Jonathan, make sure I was good to go on it. I said, if I can play, I'd love to come down. Sounds great. Let's do it. Found out some more details from Andy because, the floorman who goes with both of us there.
Yep.
Just said, yeah, it's $20, like bring a couple extra 20s, people will just kind of buy in and go crazy, and it's all for fun, everyone's gonna have a good time. I'm like, okay, this sounds great, let's do it. Haven't been to one of these. I've been to similar events with Poker News at the WSOP and all that stuff, but never done one of these with either any of the casinos, even Hustler or Commerce or Bikes. I was like, yeah, let's do it, sounds fun. So we get there, and they have a huge food buffet set up for everybody.
Nice.
Handing out raffle tickets, drink
Nice.
tickets, and the $20 buy-in, you get 10,000 in chips to start, 100, 200, I believe. We had 50 big blinds to start.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of setting the stage for the tournament.
Okay.
It was 15-minute levels, so it was going very, very quick, and the stacks were pretty shallow. Not to mention the fact that
It was a bounty event I see here.
So there was one bounty at each table. I had this lovely woman named Nettie, who I looked up later. I think is maybe the COO of some department in Commerce, very high up. There was Jonathan was there as a bounty, and some others, I believe Spencer. But yeah, so it seemed like she was fairly high up. Very nice lady.
Oh, so this wasn't an LAPC employees event necessarily. It was an entire Commerce casino.
Exactly.
Oh.
Correct. Yeah. So there were people from all departments.
Every department.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously a lot of players not very experienced, not really knowing where to call, to raise, like when to show cards,
Yep.
these kind of things. So I pretty much spent the entire tournament as a second dealer, essentially, just kind of walking everybody through, primarily for my purposes to get more than 3 hands in a level, because when the blinds are doubling every level, we need to make sure so. But I was always very nice and respectful. Like, hey, you can check or bet. You're under no obligation to do so. I said that maybe like 18
Oh, yeah.
times that night.
Yep, I love it when you teach a new player, like, okay, and you can bet now. You're
Yeah.
okay. How much should I bet?
Yeah.
It's like, did you look at your hand?
Yeah, but to give you an idea of how quick it went, so registration was, I think, open to level 9. People, when they were rebuying at the very end, it was $20 to get 10,000 in chips, and the blinds were going to be 2,000, 4,000.
Nice.
So they were going to have 2.5 big blinds if they wanted to play.
I could see myself losing $200 in this tournament.
Yeah,
Easily.
there was one guy at my table, I think, who had about 60. But anyways, so let me explain the alcohol. So basically, the lovely lady Nettie had a $300 bounty on her head that Ken, a cashier who works in the past with us, would do the payouts sometimes. He actually was the one who got the bounty, so that was cool. But she also had 5 like envelopes with her, like mystery bounty envelopes, essentially, right? She would throw 1 in for each pot. So like, even though she was eliminated, she was still at the table talking with everybody and throwing 1 in with each hand, right? You won the hand, you won the envelope. So I won 1 pot, was small, and it was the bottle of tequila. It was the Casamigos.
Oh, nice.
And then
Casamigos, nice.
So then the next hand, she throws it in. I have ace king. I raise. Short stack goes all in with king 10. I was like, okay, I call. And flop was 9-7-2. So I'm like, all right, we're fine. Runner straight 8-6. It was a small pot. It was only like 3K, but I'm like, all right, well, that's probably how the night's gonna go. It's okay. It's fine. It's a charity. Then he opens up the envelope and it's a bottle of champagne, or is the prize.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh great, lost to a runner for that. Cool, that's fine. Obviously, we're all good.
Yeah.
Very next hand, she's like, okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna throw 2 in. So now we have 2 envelopes in for this next one. I get like 9-8 of clubs in the small blind. There's like 3 limps. I just limp. Big blind checks. Bob is 8-5-2 rainbow. So we have top pair. I bet like 3/4 pot, obviously more than I would normally bet in a normal tournament. Folds to I blank out on the guy's name and I felt bad, but he's the camera guy who does the drone work for us.
Drone work.
With he flew
Yep.
the
No,
drone
no, I
around
did
a
see it
couple
one
times.
time. Yep,
Okay.
I did see it one time.
The camera guy, really nice guy.
Yep.
Doesn't play very much.
Yep.
Was like, I had to be like, okay, yeah, you can call. It's 1,000. He's like, okay, call. Big blind raises. I'm like, okay, we're obviously gonna go with this. It's charity. If I have to rebuy, I rebuy. I go all in. He's again like kind of hesitant. Like I do this, like yeah, sure, go ahead. He's like, okay, I call. Very casual. And I'm sure I'm behind, right? It's 8-5-2. Like I have 9-8. I'm sure someone has an 8, right? Guy calls with Jack 8. Our camera guy has pocket 5s, so he's flop middle set, and I have 9-8. So I'm like, okay, well this was fun. It's fine, whatever. I was still gonna have chips, but I wanted the envelopes.
Yep.
Turn was a 6, river was a 7, so I get the runner
Easy
straight
game.
with 9-8. To get the double knockout, to get like a 20K stack now in this tournament where like everyone has 5K, and that's how I got the bottle of the other 2, the
Hennessy and wine, yeah.
Hennessy.
See, you say you bet
yeah.
more than you would, but did you factor in the value of that wine and the Hennessy, right?
You might have been 1% on that flop.
That's what I was telling people after how terribly I got it in and how I shouldn't have gotten it. But I ended up collecting the bottles on like one of the last breaks with like 36 left, and so that's why you have I just had it set up right behind my chips for the last 36 players, just as like a wall with my chips there, and I carried the bottles like between tables when I had to change.
I would have used them for card protectors personally.
Yeah, I should have. But yeah, that explains the alcohol aspects. None of it was drunk on site. I had to take it all home.
Were those splash pots or bombed pots? What would you say?
I guess you would call them bomb pots. I guess I don't know. So after those envelopes, that was
bombed after you drink those envelopes.
And then throughout we had raffles going on. That was another thing too that was kind of holding up play, especially towards the last like few levels of registration. Because every time they bought in, the dealers had to get their tickets. They had to tear it up. They had to give it to them. Gotcha. So we're getting like 2 hands in. So I'm trying to be very nice. Like, can we shuffle the cards and then you can do the tickets? We were getting like 3 hands in a level.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man.
But
it sounded like a party though. It sounded like
it was absolute. We had a great time. Everyone was having a good time. It was a lot of fun. Jonathan actually made the final table.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he was $100 bounty, and I knocked him out. I forget the details of that hand.
Mm-hmm.
But even towards the final table, I was the chip leader to start with, I think 2.5 million, and we were at 300K big blind, or maybe I forget. So I think I had like under 10 big blinds, and I was the chip leader.
Very cool.
And yeah, the final table, Nat, the girl who got runner up, a very very nice girl.
Yep.
I think she definitely knew what she was doing as far as like putting the chips in and everything, but I'm not sure how much like overall experience she had.
Gotcha.
But they had a very casual hand with a short stack, a guy who had a huge rail. Everyone was railing too, a bunch of people like following their friends. It was a lot of fun. Marcus, I think, is a floor guy, maybe downstairs, got third. He had a huge rail behind him. Everyone was having a good time. She had pocket fours. The other guy had pocket aces, and the flop came ace king four. And aces was all in, and we didn't know this at the time. They like played a full side pot, and then she revealed it. She's like, fours, so I win. And the guy was like, oh, do you? And he showed aces. Like, it was straight out of a movie. Right? It was like,
Oh my gosh,
he made quad aces on the river.
Oh, nice. Did he do the two pair thing? Did he say the two pair thing?
No, he didn't. He didn't. But that was great. And then she also won like a double knockout with pocket kings with top set. And then she knocked another guy out, called a triple barrel bet with Jack, which was third pair, and they knocked her out. She played great. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it sounded like a blast. And when I saw the prizes you guys won, I had just assumed Commerce must have added a bunch to the prize pool. But the way you're describing it, I'm thinking maybe they didn't. Did they add to the prize pool?
I don't know if there was a previous number that they added. There was a good amount of rebuying at my table. I think my table alone probably put in about 300 to 400 if I had to guess. I could be wrong on that, but somewhere in there. There was a $20 add-on at the end for 20,000 in chips and registration, so I did that as well. But every raffle ticket, every hour they were giving out, like I said on the blog, I said Disneyland passes, Apple Watches, MacBooks, PS5. Probably over 100 prizes, I would guess, and I don't even know how much alcohol. Everybody walked home with some bottle of alcohol.
Nice.
I feel like.
All right, very cool. No, I love to hear that. I love to hear Commerce making, helping
take care of you guys,
making the employees feel like a family, giving some good swag out. It's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So congrats on that trophy. I'm surprised they really should have got a custom one where the guy's holding a bottle of alcohol instead of a whip, though.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to fit something in there.
It's the March employee tournament on this side, and then I'm guessing this is on the other one. Derek, you can confirm. It's Bronco Buster by Frederick Remington as the other side.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
we can take a look.
I don't think I looked at the back of the trophy.
I mean, I don't know if it's coming across. I can take a photo of it. I'll put it in the chat or something of the nameplate.
Well, you got a special one. I don't have anything on the back.
Oh, there we
yeah,
go.
Mine doesn't label it either. We know what it is, but we don't have the extra plate on the back.
Double label. There we go.
Very
Special.
cool. Awesome, man. So that's super fun. Super fun. You guys got to do more coverage of that tournament next time. It sounded like a blast.
Yeah, I know Cairo was filming a bunch of things. My guess is he's probably got something cooking up.
All right, very cool.
So,
appreciate. Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Love having you on. Share that. Before we let you go, I have a question.
Sure.
One more question, and then someone in the chat has a question for you.
Let's do it.
So yeah, you mentioned Cairo, the social media guy at Commerce there. How do you feel that social media coverage and social media has changed the way that coverage and sports coverage or poker coverage specifically, has changed for you? Like, because you're still doing the blog, right? You're still doing what's a little more traditional kind of articles, right? So how do you feel like? Do you need to change? Do you need to adapt? Is it a different audience? What are your just impressions?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, social media kind of has obviously changed the platform and everything. I think some of the old school live reporting coverage is potentially a bit outdated on some aspects, but I think that Cairo and I, we started working together in May. He was doing the video work, and I was kind of doing the stuff that I've been doing. And it's funny because the first day that we worked together was the first day that we met. We actually hadn't met beforehand. We were kind of working with different departments, and we got introduced, and then we kind of just had to work together on the fly. And I think it took us a little bit of time to kind of gel together and get our feet together, and all that stuff, feet under us, and work. And then by November we'd worked a lot of the kinks out with the World Series again. We were having a lot more fun together with that one. And now with LAPC, like I feel like he's like my partner in crime now. Like I think that we complement each other really well with what we do, and I think I think he brings, kind of like you're saying, a bit of a newer like video graphics aspect. I love the hand graphics he's able to put in now with some of the videos he's been doing. But I think there's also just on the day two specifically, like how we look at it a lot of times is he does a lot of like the lead up day one anticipatory stuff, kind of getting the hype up for everybody to come in, and then on the weekends when all the big money is on the line, and the really big stuff, the important things, the guys you want to hear about, the live updates and how everyone's playing and all the beats and everything. That's where I kind of come in, and I think we complement each other really well now with what we're doing there.
Yeah, definitely. And I've definitely seen as time has gone on, you guys have been doing more fun stuff together, putting together some more creative spots and bits, and they've been really cool to see come together. So you guys are definitely doing a great job over there.
Thank you.
And speaking of new coworkers, you're also just meeting and getting introduced to your new tournament. Well, I guess they're calling him tournament manager, but tournament director, right? So what are your thoughts on Kevin coming in?
Sure, I'm very excited. I've worked alongside Kevin a couple times. I never really actually ever worked at the Gardens Casino, working coverage for him specifically. When the WPT would be down there, I would often go down there and either do some live reporting with them or do some long article writing about some of the players and all that stuff with them. So I've definitely worked alongside Kevin, never really with him together, and I'm very excited to see what we can do with him and how he can help us because, I think the Commerce Casino has a lot of really hardworking staff members, and I think we've been talking about it a lot. They just need they need some leadership to help guide them in the right way. And I don't know if there's a better person to do that than Kevin. And one of the things I did talk to him last night, he was at the employee tournament, and we kind of both already knew that we both knew the news. So we were kind of just chatting about how excited we were. He's going to make my job a lot easier because he is very pro getting, photos out and chip counts and return lists that are, ranked by chips in correct order. It's seating charts out. He's
the
very
small
passionate
things
about
that are so
exactly
nice.
small things that
table stakes,
build
man.
up.
Yep.
That I know he really cares about,
Yep.
and it's going to make my job a lot easier. And I think, one of the things that he did say that I thought made me feel really good was I told him, you guys have said this, and I agree with you. I said I know that you had some limitations at the Gardens Casino that limited what you wanted to be able to do, and you're not going to have those issues here at Commerce. And the first thing he said is like you're at the top of the list on that as far as what I was limited on. Like he wanted to get me in at Gardens a few times, and it just never was really going to be able to work out with their budget.
Gotcha.
And to be honest with you, they're down in Disneyland area and I'm in Glendale, so I don't know if the commute would have been worth it for me, but probably worked something out. Even on these smaller series where he's only got the 4 or 5 days,
right.
We probably could have worked something out. But now he's coming closer to me, and I'm very excited to work with Kevin. And I also say, Derek, I really liked your tweet about the dim sum cart and just adding all of the things that are being done. And I just wanted to shout out Jeff Thompson as well at the bike because I think above Kevin as well, but Jeff really has been listening to the players and hearing what they want, and he's trying out some new things. I'm very, very excited for the 400K and the 500K events that are in there.
Yep.
I've told him before as a rec player, I really like that they've added one more non-quantum event, I think, every series for the last few.
Yep.
So I'm fully planning to support the 400K and the 500K.
Yep.
I think the Park West Classic is a little out of my price range still. Plus, that's obviously one that I really want to dedicate a lot of my focus on for the coverage because that's one of our hallmark events. So I'm just really excited to the winning of the Green's off to a great start, and Jeff, I think what helps is that Jeff, is a poker player as well, so I think he really understands, obviously he works administration and all that stuff, so he kind of sees both sides of it, but I think the fact that he really likes to play poker too, it makes it a lot more receptive to some of the things you guys are saying, and I'm very excited to see the changes implemented over the next month.
Yep.
Yeah, to have two talented guys at the Commerce and the Bike Now, our two biggest card rooms, is it's all we can ask for.
Yeah, we're just so excited. All right, last question before we let you go from Dib Dudar in the comments here. He says congrats on the win. And do you think that as far as poker media goes, do you think it needs to return to something a little more mainstream, like the way ESPN kind of used to, in order to grow and get more exposure. Because right now, all the media exposure that poker gets is pretty insulated to the kind of if you know crowd. And I see where he's coming from here. Pretty much
Yeah.
the only coverage is on poker regs that people already know, right? And trying to turn them into names, I guess. I don't know. So what do you think?
Yeah. No, it's a good question, for sure. I think we're probably past the heydays of ESPN being the primary area. I remember back in what was it, 08 or 09, they would have 7 or 8 bracelet events that they showed like almost all the coverage of, and then lead up to the main event. Those were the glory days, right? But
Yep.
it's difficult because poker is just inherently not very spectator friendly.
Right.
And especially with kind of the newer crop of players, you have these GTO robots oftentimes who just have no personality, and so I think you have to. Poker Go, I think, does a pretty good job of trying to find a balance of bringing in characters who they know are gonna liven up the crowd for some of their cash games and hopefully in their tournaments sometimes a final table run, while also bringing in some really, really valuable content for people who are looking to improve their games. Obviously, Poker Go is behind a paywall, which I think it just has to be with the product that it provides, but that does limit a lot of the very much amateur player people who might want to just watch these for fun, and it is unfortunate that I think the last main event or two have been on maybe CBS Sports Network or something, I think is the coverage that they're doing for that.
I do want to drop a pro tip. So for people
Yeah.
who have Amazon Prime and you can watch Prime Video, if you go to Live TV, which comes with Prime Video, there's a couple of poker channels, and Poker Go is one of those. So you obviously can't select what you're watching, but they just basically stream Poker Go constantly. There's a Triton Poker channel. So you get all that for free if you have Amazon Prime. So just giving a pro tip out there.
That is very good to know. I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
All right, we know what Kevin's doing tonight. All right.
There we go. That's a good tip.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for popping on. Thanks for the fun stories. It sounded like a blast. Hopefully, we'll have you on again, and we will see you. I think you already mentioned it. We're gonna see you at the bike.
Yes.
All right.
I will be there this weekend, in fact. So I think I'm gonna try to go. I wanted to say, yeah, we were kind of talking about it. I'm curious to see how the new format of the quantum with the
Yep.
880
So
buy-in,
interesting.
100K. I'm very, very curious to see what numbers are for that. And I will say that as a recreational player, again, I think it gives me more of an incentive to play. Because if I can build up a stack of 300,000-400,000, then I know I have 4x what some of the people coming in on.
Yep.
So I'm I really like that we're doing some things differently. Jeff is kind of experimenting, see what we have, and then probably I'm assuming expanding on that going into Legends. So
Yep.
I think that poker, I don't want to say it's booming again in LA, but I think we're headed in a really, really good direction right now, and I'm just excited to kind of be on the front lines with it. And I think that you guys are also part of that with the spearheading that you're doing with this, and kind of
Thanks, buddy.
giving
Yeah, appreciate it.
just a voice to some of the players. And I think that people are taking a lot of what you're saying, and I think it's only going to help improve the game in LA. So I'm really excited to see where we go.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, us too, man.
Absolutely.
We're in it together. Let's go. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you so
It was
much.
fun, guys.
Yep. We will
Yep,
see
have
you
a good
this
night, all right?
weekend.
Yeah,
Yep.
congrats again, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Awesome guest. Great to have him on. So happy
great
he got
guest,
himself. So happy he got himself a trophy. All right. We have got so much still left to cover, so much exciting things to talk about. So let's just keep on rolling, man. We mentioned this before. We were mostly confident, and DJ gave us the kind of the tip that the circuit, don't worry, the circuit is definitely coming back in May. And in fact, we got more confirmation from Kev Mathers on Twitter that, in fact, not just the circuit, but the Tournament of Champions is still scheduled to be coming back to LA, most likely May 21st to the 25th, unless there's something drastic happens. They just haven't announced it yet, just like last year. I don't understand, and I even tweeted, like, why aren't they learning? Why do they want to piss everyone off? By not announcing it, the only people that know for sure it was coming back this year is DJ. And like,
Right.
we suspected it, but no one else in the world was more than 50% sure that it was coming back to LA, which means that when they
Yeah.
got the rings, nobody else in the world was thinking, I need to look into LA. I need to look at when I'm going to go to LA. Should I plan? Is that a place I want to go? No, they're just sitting there
And,
waiting, and they're going to
and
announce
this
it
is
at the last
this
freaking
is like
second again.
it's like the annoying thing is the commerce. They're just like, why do you? It's almost like why do you care? You know what I mean? And it's like why don't you care? I hope Kevin comes in and just fixes all this.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I could see that being one of the higher up things because it probably has to do with money and contracts and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's just like, guys, if you were actually trying to give a good experience and get more people to come and get people
Yeah,
excited, you
gotta
need
announce it.
you have to announce it to start advertising it to get people excited about it. Do you not?
Yeah.
Right?
Especially because it's a World Series, because people travel for it. Like that's the thing. It's not a local tournament. Like people travel for
Yeah.
this thing. So
And you signed a
don't drop the
2-year
ball.
contract. It's not like
Yeah.
this is a surprise. What do you? Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on. So speaking of World Series circuits, there was the circuit event over there in Baltimore, and we mentioned, Maurice Hawkins, he won the main event. He got his record tying ring with Ari, but did not come without controversy. Did not come without controversy. The third place finisher, which I'm assuming is this guy. This is the Poker News article. He was actually busted out in third place with the best hand.
Unbelievable.
I
What a
mean,
huge spot.
It's
How
in
does
a
that
circuit
happen?
main. It's a circuit main.
Yeah.
The third place was like 60 grand. First place was 140. So this is potentially an $80,000 mistake. We saw this clip before. I think it was like a European tournament from way back when, where the winner thought they lost, busted, walked away. Whole table just kind of sat there while he slowly walked away, and nobody did anything. And it's with like kind of air quotes that somebody noticed. Somebody absolutely noticed. There's no way 4 people who play poker are sitting there and all 4 of them did not notice, right?
Yeah, somebody always catches it because I mean, there's plenty of times where I'm like, oh man, I lost to a straight there because that's all I'm looking for, right? But somebody always catches it, and a dealer, should be really zoned in on this type of stuff.
Exactly. And it says that the video later they learned and showed it to the floor, but now see at that point it's too late. Tournament's over, or it's like many hands later.
Yep.
It's too late. But it was not mentioned in the hand history recap. So the coverage guy, whoever was writing up the hand, also conveniently missed it. It was a $1,700 event. So this is just absurd. This is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I will fight tooth and nail. I would fight you to the death that anyone who thinks that in a casino, in a card room where the rule is card speak, that this is acceptable, you should not be allowed to play poker. You shouldn't be allowed to do business. I don't trust you with anything, because do you know what the rule card speak means? It means that once you put your hand on the table, that's it. There is no more there is no subjectivity to it. There's no like I have to do anything. Your hand should win. This is the I have up here the TDA rules, what they kind of say on it, right? So cards speak, right? Verbal declarations of hand value are not binding. Deliberately miscalled hands will be penalized, and dealers should read and announce hand values at showdown, and any player in the hand or not should speak up if they think a mistake is made in reading hands or calculating and awarding the pot. Okay? So these are the official guidelines of the TDA. You notice it's not like a penalty if someone else doesn't read it, because it's because you can't prove they didn't, you can't prove that they saw it, right? But this is, you see a lot of people try and make the argument, well, you have to protect your hand. You have to protect yourself. You have to do this. You have to do that. This is about. I don't have to say anything. It's like, why would I speak out against my best interest? And it's like, because we all, when we signed up for the tournament, we agreed to abide by these rules. We agreed this was going to be what is fair. We agreed this is the game we're playing. We did not come to the tournament saying we're going to go back to the Wild West. I came packing heat on my hip, and I'm going to protect myself from you and your cheating friends by that. No, we are supposedly civil and people who respect each other and are going to follow the rules, right? So come on, guys, like, be better. I mean, at first, the only controversy they could find on Twitter was Ari Engel and folks congratulating him on his 18th win, and some people, doing the typical like, he owes people. But this, how can you not? You just can't get a win with a clean win, right? Quote unquote clean. Like, what is going on? How does the coverage guy not notice? How does the?
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a couple of Matt Savage chimed in on this today because people were basically asking like, hey, if a reporter sees it, is it not only their responsibility, but like, is it allowed for them to basically speak up and say, hey, you guys got the hand wrong? And Matt Savage seems to be solidly in the camp of like literally anybody in the room who sees it should call it out. I think Gary Gates actually, I'm not sure if he like misunderstood what he was saying, but he was kind of arguing that the media should not be involved at all with these type of decisions. And I was like, well, they're not like mandating that you do. It's just that if you notice something, just say something, right? Which seems like totally fair because you're saying like it is cards speak, and any witness should be able to call it out.
Right. So here I see him talking with a Brad Willis, kind of having your same arguments there. Savage chimes in on this thread saying that not only the media, but literally anybody that sees the pot going the wrong way should speak out.
Yeah.
So like spectators, anybody, and you know me. If you guys know me around, if I was in the audience and I saw that, I would shout out something. I would shout out something, and the guys at the table losing money would say, "You're not even in the hand," and I would say, "Doesn't matter, you sob." And yeah, and if you've been at a table with me, I jump in all the time for this kind of stuff. It's like, no, we're playing card speak, man. We're playing card speak. I'm not reading a hand that someone's showing me over here like this. Hands on the table.
And the point I did make in this thread too is that I think very often it's not even just like spectators, but I even think players at the table are afraid to speak up sometimes, and it's not because they don't want to like intervene. I feel like they think they're not allowed to, and I think that doesn't come from any actual rule, but it comes from like the losing player saying you're not in the hand, you shouldn't speak up or something like that, and then everyone just sort of backs up thinking that that's some kind of rule, but it's not a rule. So I think that really what should happen is the TDA should actually kind of speak up and say, hey, literally any person in the room can say something if they see something, right? And just make it super obvious to everyone, even the players.
Right. And like I said, bringing up the rule from the TDA, you can't legislate that anyone has to because you can't prove that they did see it. But it is, here it's kind of only. Yeah, exactly. Here it's only clear that the players in the hand or not should speak up, but they could expand it. They should literally say anybody who sees it and says something, like you have to take their input. It's not like it's not like you have to vet this witness, right? It's not like they have to have a certain credential. It's like if they see it and they say something, you all must react. You can't just ignore it and say that's inadmissible, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so I mean, I think our viewers know where we stand on this by now, and Bart Hansen chimed in, said the same thing. Like you said, Savage jumped in, said the same thing. So, this kind of thing gets me fired up. I hate that kind of thing. As you all know, angle shooters and people who are bad for the game are like my number one pet peeve. So,
yep.
All right. So speaking about things that are bad for the game, we have unfortunately something that's a little bit of a black eye in the LA community, but I figured it was newsworthy. Bring it up. I saw it, and I think I actually saw maybe Poker.org had a small article about it. This Woody Christie fella, who I've seen post several times, it was at the final table of his Poker Atlas tour, and he said that unfortunately local player Mr. Frankie got DQ'd for threatening a floor person and getting really heated at people, including himself. So that's not great, guys. You gotta rep LA by blasting. Don't rep LA by threatening, right? Let's be better, guys.
Woody actually came and introduced himself to me at the Commerce, and that glorious beard looks just as glorious in person, I will tell you.
He's the right pick for Santa, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just unlike most people's Twitter's profile Twitter profiles. He's not lying. And other big tournament news, it's also kind of a little bit of a black eye. GG Poker was running their massive. What was the name of this thing? The GG Masters, which is correct me if I'm wrong, Frank. It's like a very low buy-in, multi-million, $5 million guarantee.
Yeah, it's like $150 for $5 million guarantee or something like that. It was crazy.
Absolutely wild. The numbers for that, astronomical. And the servers agreed. The numbers are just too much. They were having issues. They were having lots of delays. They're having lots of crashes.
Well, they actually said it was a DDoS.
Oh, it was. So it wasn't just wasn't them. Yeah, it was someone else crashing them.
It was I mean, there was probably like a little bit of everything, but there was primarily they blamed the DDoS.
Wow. So they say they were under attack, denial of service, and they ended up canceling the game, canceling the tournament, and refunding everybody. So
like basically they actually crashed on the first day, and then they told everyone they would restart on like day 2. And then when they came back for day 2, it crashed again. And then they tried to restart day 2, but then they had all these problems with like like 2 people sitting at a table and they couldn't figure out how to balance it, and then they ended
Right.
up canceling the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, this kind of brings up a little point, for these poker sites, despite all the money a lot of them have, they are way behind in security, right? Like
Yeah.
we complain about the unregulated sites like player security, which is extremely hard, but this kind of shows they're just straight up behind in a lot of security. I mean, most sites, most important sites that need to have high reliability and high uptime are going to have some sort of protections against the DDoS, right? You're going to have protections against other types of common cyber attacks. So if you can just get, if you're going to just get attacked and taken down like that,
Yeah.
these are the kind of things when your whole livelihood is I need to have servers up and reliable. You need to not skimp on this stuff, right? And it's like poker sites. Yeah, it's kind of debatable whether or not they invest in that sort of thing, right? Because that's just more money they have to spend. So more reasons to play live.
Yeah, I think some players are also complaining about the resolution and thinking the player should have gotten more because it was such a huge opportunity. And obviously, they only went to come play because of that humongous $5 million guarantee. So I think what they basically did was the people that were still remaining, they took half the prize pool and distributed it evenly. And then the other half of it distributed via ICM, which I think is like pretty common. But I think, people were saying that they should have added a little bit more or something to compensate.
Yeah, so the remaining players got chopped it up in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very cool. So that stinks. Play live. We got great stuff going on in LA. Come to LA, play here. And I found another little nugget when I was searching the interwebs there. I saw something on Poker Reddit, right? On Poker Reddit. And it was a question about whether or not it was a good deal to buy in straight to day 2 in this particular kind of tournament, okay? And they described the tournament. They said, okay, there's day 1s, all these days, they cost this much, or I can just buy directly into day 2 for 100K for this much. And I said, whoa, is someone describing the bike quantums, the new quantum? Let me take a look here and see what they're saying. And it turns out they were not describing the bike quantum. What they were describing was the Pittsburgh Hammer. Have you ever heard of this? The Pittsburgh Hammer. And, yet another reason I think quantums are dumb, or rather, I think copywriting a quantum is dumb. This is essentially a quantum with only one day 1 starting flight amount. I did not click on the structure to see if they have the payouts happening in the frequency. Let's see. Day 1 players, they get through. Yeah, okay, so they're not paying everyone out immediately in day 1, but it is a main cash, and I'm not sure what the double bag bonus is, but, this is 2 different chip stacks for 2 different buy-ins, direct buy into day 2. Now, they're charging a little much for that chip stack. I think face value, the way they would do their calculations for like quantum, they would probably have gotten like 1,200 in chips or something like that. But it's basically the same thing. So they're basically running quantum. So hey, look, Mo, you should either sue these guys or you should drop the quantum, because it's like I said, it's not that hard to do some math, and it's just like, can you even copyright that idea? Like I copyrighted dividing the amount by 4 and then charging 1/4 of it and letting 1/4 of those people into day 2. Can I copyright that, or whatever it is? Patent it.
I vote drop the quantum. You got too many good things going on right now to get into a legal fight, so just drop the quantum.
Yeah. So anyways, though, the Pittsburgh Hammer, man, it's basically a quantum. So there are other places doing quantums. It's not just us. They're just calling it the Pittsburgh Hammer. I would be interested to see what the locals think of it, though. Like this thread didn't really have other locals talking about it. They were just trying to analyze it at face value. So Yeah,
we got any Pittsburgh listeners, come hit us up on Twitter and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, because the average stack going forward on day 2 of this is roughly going to be like 170 or so, 175 maybe. So you're buying in for less than the average stack. It's more than what we'll be buying in for in this first quantum, which is that 1/3 average stack, and it's less than what typically is, which is average stack. So it's very interesting the difference.
Isn't Rigby the guy that the crazy WSOP? Yeah,
yep, he's a Pittsburgh guy. Yep, Rigby.
Yeah, we should ping him on Twitter.
The old dirty diaper.
The old dirty diaper.
Yep. Yeah, we should. We can check that out. We'll have to see how they like their the Pittsburgh quantums.
Yeah.
All right. Whew. All right. So that was all of my news. That was all my gossip. Did I miss anything, Derek? Did something fall off the sheet?
You know what? Let me actually respond to Sam. So Sam dropped a comment in chat. WPT Gold, Club Gold, not letting you write off your losses because they are 1099 your winnings. They are technically 1099ing your winnings, but I think Bart Hansen and then even Fox, I forget his first name.
Was it Faraz as well?
no, Fox, which is like the tax attorney for poker.
Oh, okay, great.
They had all had sort of basically said that you can write off your losses no matter what it is they give you, as long as you can articulate to the IRS like why it is, right? Basically, you're saying that I'm playing on a, even though this is classified as a sweepstakes, it's a poker set and I'm playing in a poker tournament, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable argument. So don't take what I just said as like legal advice or tax advice. Definitely look into it, get your own attorney, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as they give you a 1099 and you're screwed.
Yeah, I was seeing the chatter as well, and most of the chatter seemed to say that you get 1099s for all sorts of other gambling winnings, like other jackpots, and you can write your gambling losses off against them. So you should still be able to do the same thing. Now, the thing that I think might be lame about this is I believe that, say you go on the site and you buy in for $3,000 across the year and you lose $2,000, and then you decide to cash the last 1,000 out, you'll get a 1099 for that $1,000. So you'll need to document carefully, right? So that it'll look like you won 1,000 even though you lost 2,000 on that site alone, right? So you'll have to figure out how to capture that, So once again, not tax advice, but we are repeating what we read online from other people who also aren't giving tax advice but seem knowledgeable, and they seem to say it should be the same as like a jackpot, or it should be similar to those.
And from like a critical thinking perspective, it also makes sense. So, but definitely, do your research and hire an attorney if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I think it's roundup time.
Roundup time.
We're having all sorts of problems the last couple
of weeks.
Well,
these are videos working this week.
Yeah, my videos, I got my video to work, but now the audio's gone on my roundup song. That's your roundup song, man. I'm so sad.
I kind of missed the evil eye, though.
I should do it again, and you should have to hum it.
I don't even remember what the jingle is.
Okay. So this weekend, we have the Winnin' on the Green is the one large series going on now that LAPC is over. So what is going on at the Winnin' on the Green? Well, they have $500 buy-in mixed games going on all week. They start at 1 p.m. Different ones happening all the time. Tomorrow we have Limit Triple Draw. Thursday they have Torse. Friday they have Limit Omaha 8 or better. So that's what's going on during the day. Later on, they have Mega Satellites at night, and then the main event all week is the first Quantum of the series. So at 11 and 4 p.m. every weekday this week, they will be doing the day ones. Those day ones are $300 buy-in. They are cash at 12%, or is it 12.5%, and bag at 10%. So that is how those work, and I believe that puts the average stack on day two at $300,000. So that is how you get in with those. They have your typical, get paid at the end of the day. I think the double bag bonus is $1,500. I'll scroll down and check in a minute. And then on Saturday is when the day two is, and that is when we have that interesting $880 day two buy-in for 100,000 chips, which will be about 33 big blinds, which is less than normal. Usually you get the average stack, which is usually around somewhere between 66 to 80 or something like that.
I selfishly liked the day two 70K buy-in just for personal, profitability reasons. But this feels so much more fair, so I'm glad that this is happening.
It feels super fair, and it's cheaper. They would have charged more for the full stack, so it is cheaper. So it is still kind of a similar value. Honestly, I think it's a better value because, as we all know, chips lose value the more of them you have, technically. So
this is true.
The first, as soon as you have a playable stack, that is worth the most, and they're giving us a discount. So I think this.
But I think I think from a straight chip to dollar value, you're right. But then from a 70 big blind stack value, sitting in a day two with a lot of inexperienced players, and you're a very good player with deep pockets, that's super not fair.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing better than being at the table with the chip leader from day one, because most of the time they got it very quickly and very luckily, which means you could very easily get it very quickly and very luckily. So.
Very true.
And they could also bust you pretty quick too, but at least the chips are in play,
Yeah, and then I'll just give you the group chat.
Yep.
You never guess what happened.
All right. Also that Saturday, they'll be having another 100K legendary deep stack starting at 1 p.m., which I believe is right around when Reg ends for the day two. Now, I'm a little nervous about it, like I said, just because it's competing with the other, and people might be a little, their pockets might feel a little light if they've been busting out at 880. But super good tournament, especially if that was out of your price range and you're waiting. Only thing to note is instead of last week, that started at 11, they were starting with 40-minute levels. This one has 30-minute levels the whole way through. On Sunday, they will be doing the free roll. So if you've been playing their tournaments, their weekend tournaments, and or grinding their cash to get those free roll seats, that is happening this Sunday. And also on Sunday is a 75K guarantee super stack that starts at 1 p.m. and that is a $300 buy-in. And that is going to be very good, I bet, because that free roll starts at 10 a.m. So people will be busting out of that, coming on over to this other one. Hopefully cash players, but definitely all the other folks that are just don't necessarily come to these series but are there for the free roll. So definitely got to get there for that. All right, so that is the bike. I will definitely be there for the day 2, if not firing on Friday, and then probably Sunday. We'll see. I'm sure Derek will be there for all of it.
I am definitely going to do at least the afternoon flight on Friday. I'm going to try to maybe squeeze the Thursday night flight because I would love to get in there with more than 30 bigs.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I get a couple of day 1 shots.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, as Kevin pointed out, it's definitely going to feel more advantageous to get those chips this time as opposed to just starting.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
Over at Hustler, we're still waiting on their series starting March 13th, and they still have that hose event every Sunday. I'm surprised. Let us know in the chat if you've been going to this. Jeremy, seems like your thing since you've been killing it at Lucky Lady, and they're doing more mixed game. So, $500 buy-in hose event every Sunday seems cool. Big O tournament every Tuesday, so they're really kind of catering those mixed game tournaments over there at Lucky Lady. So get on over there along with the regular events. Over at Hollywood Park, the casino that doesn't exist according to Derek, they are just having their regular events this weekend. Nothing super exciting, just sort of the $8,000 and $10,000 Friday through Saturday events. So good events, but just their normal ones. And that's a $50 bounty on Friday and a 100 plus 100 add-on 10K guarantee for the Saturday and Sunday. This means and this means that dailies are back at Commerce. So once again, the dailies at Commerce are pretty good. Now that Kevin's over there, they're going to get even better, I'm sure. But the nice thing about dailies at Commerce is their rake is actually fairly reasonable because typically they include a bounty that isn't really calculated in the rake, or there's an add-on that's not calculated in the rake. So for instance, this 130, the rake for the 130 may be like meh, average, right? I mean, look, it's $25 out of 130. It's a kind of a big percentage, right? But you can do an add-on, and that's 95 and 5. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
And another thing to point out is this 25K guarantee on their Saturday tournament looks like it's sticking around. So this is going to actually be a little taxing on them, honestly, throughout the bike series. But good to know, 25K guarantee as your alternative for your Saturday daily tournament, or you bust out of something early. Get in there. All right. The Gardens has its regular dailies as well. It's going to feel weird playing there without Kevin. We're going to have to find out. Someone let us know who is taking the reins of the tournament director.
I wonder if it's going to be a new guy.
Yeah, or is it going to be like Commerce, just kind of trying to get along and go by force of, as Kevin said, they have a lot of great, hardworking employees, been there a while. It was really just moving along with momentum from those guys.
If you need a case study on what happens if you don't have a tournament director, you got one. So.
Yeah, so get one. All right.
Get one, yes.
All right. And that will do it for us this week.
Yeah, this is looks like there's a lot of good action, but definitely the bike is going to be a super interesting. Quantum definitely feels more fair. So for any amateurs that weren't playing the quantums because you felt like it wasn't fair because of the day 2 buy-in, this one looks like it's way more fair. So it's going to be a good one. Yeah,
absolutely. And there is there's new hope. There's new, I've got a twinkle in my eye. I've got excitement for the first time in a while about the whole scene here. I'm feeling so good now that the 2 big casinos, I've really felt like they're turning a corner as far as player experience. So let's go.
Yeah. And I'm going to tackle that dim sum guy as soon as he comes in the room.
All right. That's great. Once Derek does that, everyone grab it and go. He's going to take all the blame. Yeah. All right, guys. All right. So that's it for us this week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Kevin, for joining us. And everybody, we will see you at the bike. We'll see you at the Commerce, wherever. We will see you at the table.